Welcome to Who You Know with Michael Sublett of Oddmost Pizza and Arthur Meeker of Extreme Graphics. We're shining the spotlight on businesses right here in the Pacific Northwest, celebrating their growth, their networking wins, and the impact they make in their communities. From small town gems to big community players, this is where connection meets inspiration.
Thanks for joining us. You are the Bald Guy is the name of your company.
Bald Guy Engraving, yes.
And yeah, you'll tell us all kinds of stuff you do.
Okay.
But Scott, and I'm
Scott.
not even going to attempt your last name.
It's Poisal. Poisal, just like it's spelled.
I have not really met you yet, so
Okay.
all I see so far is by the tattoos. I see the tequila over there.
Yeah.
I see America over there, which
Right.
is nice. I
So
love that.
I like to call this my vices arm, and this is my patriotic arm. And so I, several years ago, I really dove into the world of tequila and started researching and learning about it. Versus, your standard Cuervo and Hornitos and all that stuff that you would get any bar or anything else. Your bottom shelf stuff just is it's not very good. People always say, "Oh, I can't drink tequila because it makes me feel bad." I said, "Well, you're drinking the wrong tequila." So I started just learning about it and educating myself about it, and so as that grew, so did my. Once I retired from my career, then I started getting a little bit of artwork, and it just evolved. So it started with agave plant dripping into a shot glass, and then I had it filled in with the harvesting, because to me it's like akin to a winemaker, the skill set and the distillers are.
We didn't know where that was going to go with the whole I dove into tequila. I'm like, well, this could go one way or the other.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about tequila. Like, tell us a good tequila to try, and tell us like the stuff to stay away from. And do they have the worm? Is that a thing?
The worm is in mezcal, and it's a touristy kind of thing.
Okay, that's what I thought.
It's usually in a certain kind of mezcal, but tequila itself, the aging is in. Where bad tequila is so to grow a pina, the pulp, the agave plant, it takes 7 years or so for it to mature. So your big distilleries like Hornitos and Cuervo and Cazadores like that, they're all corporately owned. They're harvesting the plant 4 to 5 years. So it's still green. It's like eating a green banana. Not as much flavor. They're getting all the pulp, all the materials to make tequila, but they're lacking the flavor. So then they have to go back in the process and add additives to enhance the flavor. And the additives is what people have bad reactions to. The amount of sugars and all that stuff that people have a bad day the next day from drinking too much. Whereas a good quality tequila, traditionally made, waits for that plant to be harvested at the right time.
Oh, wow.
And then it's aged. The aging happens in the barrel, not in the bottle, like in a bottle of wine. So, and my personal opinion, there's some really good tequilas that you can still find here. You can find it actually in Oregon. Tequila Ocho is a great brand. Fortaleza is the best for collectors. It's harder to find. It's very sporadic do they get in Oregon, but you can find it in other places around the country. Some other really good ones, and they start different price range from $30 for a fifth up to over $50 to $70 for a fifth of good tequila. Yeah, so there's several good brands on the market, but you just got to educate yourself in why.
Right. So a question I have that when you go to the liquor store and you look at bottles of tequila, and they make these bottles really kick-ass looking, does that mean that they're good? Or
Rule of thumb is pretty bottle, crappy juice.
That's what I thought.
I can't remember the name of the distillery, but he says, I make good tequila, I don't make pretty bottles. And it's just in a basic wine bottle style. And that's kind of what a lot of them are.
Cool.
And you go to travel to like Mexico or places, and they're always trying to sell you in the airports. They're really pretty bottles. Well, you get it and you do a side-by-side taste of really good tequila, you're like, oh, now I know.
You know how you were saying you kind of are into this. I'm just like, so if we had you come in like in a Speedo, we'd get to know all about you then, or is this pretty much what you've got?
Up here, there's a Shelby Cobra snake from my first hot rod. And then it's got also old school hot rod flames around it and a checkered flag kind of woven into the layer. So that's this side, it's all vice. So get into hot rods, got into tequila. And then I served in the military, in the Army for 10 years. And I also was in federal law enforcement in my career, so I just kind of have a patriotic side to me as well. And so that evolved with the We the People, I believe in the Constitution, and then love the Oregon fog and trees, and then just built into the flag in the clouds. So
Awesome. Thank you for your service, too.
you're welcome. Thank
So what did you do in the military?
you. I was United States Army military police for almost 10 years.
Wow. Where did you serve at?
When I got out of high school, I enlisted in 1985, and
That's when I was born.
That's when I was born. That's what
Sorry.
and
I
my first.
graduated in 85 as well.
Okay, all right. So my first duty station was in Stuttgart, West Germany, and it was during the Cold War, and I was over there when the Berlin Wall came down and all that stuff. So it was
wow.
it was an interesting, fun time, and it was a great time to go. I was 18 years old, and going to experience Germany.
Yeah.
And so
Very cool.
Yeah, it was.
Very
It was.
cool.
So when you look back, I mean, they probably have a different because you've matured and all that kind of stuff now.
I hope.
So when you think now, like when you were that age going into that significant of a time period, did it ever really, were you wrapping your head around it at that time, or do you look back and go, wow, I can't believe I was there during that time?
Yeah, in the moment you're
18.
18. Yeah, I'm going overseas, and I can't believe I kind of. When you join the service, they give you a wish list of, well, where would you like to be stationed? Not saying that's where we're going to guarantee it, but unless you can get that guarantee. And I was surprised that I got, because I said, yeah, I wanted to go see. I grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana, and graduated high school there, and I haven't lived there since I joined the service. I always go back home, that's where family is, but I haven't lived there since then, and I've always made home wherever I've been. So from West Germany, I then military police, and then I came back and got an additional school and went to military police corrections, and went to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, where the maximum security penitentiary is for the federal government as well as the United States military.
Oh, wow.
So I spent 5 years there, and then my last duty station before I got out was up at Fort Lewis, Washington.
Oh, wow. And so then you went into working in the penitentiary?
I worked at the federal,
Federal.
kept government job, and worked for the federal government under the Bureau of Prisons in Sheridan, Oregon, at FCI Sheridan. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And my whole career was there
So
for almost 25 years.
25 years.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Long time. I bet you have some really good stories. Do you have any good, just one story that sticks out that happened there?
It was towards the end of my era there. There was at the time my job is, and I retired as I was a unit correctional counselor. So, correctional counselor runs the entire housing unit. And with that meaning, every inmate that's assigned to my housing unit, I have some level of, whether I work with a case manager and we manage their job, their discipline, their all that kind of stuff. So day to day, and we had a couple of transgender, and this was before transgender. This whole era that we've gotten into now, we had these two male inmates that wanted to portray themselves as females, and they took it to the extreme that they always acted like females, and they had little cat fights. And this one particular inmate, I was in segregation talking to him about the incident. They had this particular cat fight, and one had chased the other one down the sidewalk to the housing unit, and there was a tree, and one of them was hid behind the tree and jumped out and chased the other into the housing unit. And so they're retelling me this story, and I'm standing on the other side of a door, and they're telling me a story, and I'm like, and I just could not help but laugh, just continue to laugh about the story. And then I'm like, well, let me tell you, it was like this. Was it like this? And all of a sudden I jump out in front of them in the glass. I'm like, ha, was it like, did they jump out and scare you like that? Or, and she's like, Mr. Poisal, I don't know, that wasn't very nice. And it was just, you bring the humor, the humanity of the whole situation. And that's kind of how I carried my unit is my office was in the unit. Right next to my office was a cell. So it's that open, and so that accessibility. And so they all knew me, and I always went to communicate with them and talk with them, and regardless of whatever issues there were. And so there's always fun stuff. There's graphic stuff. There's all kinds of, it's its own little world.
Yeah. So the movies and stuff that are out there that show like what the life is like in prison, is that like really portraying it, or is it worse?
Hyper magnified?
Okay.
It's hyper magnified. I know that. I mean, I started watching. What's the new Taylor Sheridan one where it's a prison environment? Anyways, first episode, I'm like, yeah, I've been so far away from it. I retired in 2019 that going back, when you retire from that kind of environment, it stays with you for a long time.
Yeah.
It stays in your psyche, and sometimes you dream, you're back in the job, you're back doing this. And so I've been removed for so long that when I revisit it for a show, I'm like, no thanks.
Yeah,
I lived it, I don't need to see it.
Out of those situations, I've always found that, because there's a lot of madness that is out there in different ways. Was there anything you pulled from that, though, that actually inspired you?
To me, on a positive light, it's when you can make an individual connection with even staff member to inmate. If you can make a connection and you can see that, wow, that person's really got it. He figured it out finally. Or and they're actually doing what they need to not come back to a place like that and to really change. So when you can make that connection, and when I've put myself out there to put the energy into trying to help somebody like that, or to mentor to somebody like that, and to see it come back, that's that light I get sometimes. And it works sometimes, and a lot of times it doesn't, because some people don't get to the point where they've given up. They want to control it and do it their way,
right,
instead of what really society wants them to do, or what the rules of society, being responsible, taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, and not living within the rules, laws, policies, whatever you want to call it. When I can make that, when I've made that connection, and you see the results, or you see that, hey, that person's doing it, they're out there on their own, they're doing it. Mm-hmm. Whatever level it is, whether they're super successful or they're just not drinking, not doing the things that adversely affect their lives, or they're not coming back to prison, that's a win there too. So,
do you, so you were there for 25 years, do you run into people that you, in real life, outside?
Honestly, not the clients.
Yeah.
Not so much.
You don't see
former staff members, people I've worked with, that I worked for side by side with. Yeah, I see them a lot, but honestly, no, it's weird.
Yeah.
And I'm stayed in this area for the same amount of time since then, and I honestly haven't. I imagine I'm more recognizable to them than they are to me.
Right.
Because in a sea of 3,000 total or more, it's easy to get lost for me to not have that connection unless they were one of mine directly on my caseload. So, yeah.
I didn't know if you run into these people.
It's interesting because when I first joined the service at 18, of course I couldn't become a police officer at 18. So that was my goal, was to serve 3 years, get the military police experience, then come back to Indiana or come back wherever and start my career in law enforcement. it just took a different path. I got kids young and got married, and so that became more of, I needed more of that. I stayed in the service. And so then that took me down the corrections path, which ultimately led to the career I had.
Yeah.
It was more because family needs dictated which
Yep.
path,
Oh, yeah.
which choice you take.
Yep,
You know, so-
absolutely.
right.
So after 25 years, you jumped out. What did you do right away when you got out 25 years? You're retired.
I'm retired. I wasn't married then, and I had a townhouse here in West Salem, and I decided I wanted to. I had an old wine barrel in my garage that I wanted to make a planter out of, and I just didn't want to cut it in half and make your typical 2 halves of a planter. And so I started looking around on Pinterest and all these different weird, sites like that. But I always thought Pinterest was for like women and recipes and this kind of stuff. But then I just dove into it. I'm like, oh, you could type anything in here and you can get ideas. And so I found this 3-tiered planter made out of a wine barrel. And I said, well, what's the worst thing you can do is tear it up. So I started cutting into it and researching how you got to reinforce the bands and all this stuff, because Cooper, who makes the barrels, I think is a work of art. The craftsmanship that goes beyond making the wine barrels are. And so I started taking it apart, and ultimately it turned out the way I wanted it to. But in the process, the way my brain thinks is like, there's a more efficient way to do this. And a barrel is, the top is the bottom, bottom is the top. I could actually make, if this design, I could actually make 2 of these out of one instead of destroying half of it, making it. So I figured out how to cut it out evenly to be able to make now 2 planters. And man, these are really cool. People buy these. So then it just started the wheels turning. When I did that, I'm like, so then I remodeled the kitchen in my townhouse, and I'm like, well, I've got physical skills I hadn't used. I've always walked around with a cup of coffee and supervised inmates for 25 years. So I've got physical skills that I had when I was a kid, and creative skills that I hadn't touched since I was a kid. And it started all just kind of slowly pushing myself to try this. And so I was just woodworking. I was just playing with woodworking. And then when I got married and had a shop at our house, and I really loved the engraving side of it, but it just was cost prohibitive, some of the machines, what I wanted. And ultimately we just took the plunge, in 2023 and incorporated the business and, or LLC'd the business, and changed it from Bald Guy Woodworking to Bald Guy Engraving, because I wanted to make that more predominant. Now I can still do the woodworking skills, and I create, do really neat. I started making, cabinets out of whiskey barrels, and making plaques out of the barrel heads, and doing different crafts with the staves. And so, but I also wanted to add the engraving. So that's where we spent the money and did that. So
And how's that going?
first couple of years, it's just slow. Slow for me getting my footprint into the community. I'm not good at getting out and knocking on doors. I'd rather work come to me, and I'm just, once I dove in, first of all, I got the machine, and I hadn't touched the laptop in 5 years since I retired. So much changes in 6 months in a computer.
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah.
I was like, I could barely turn on the laptop. And my first thought was, what did I just do? What did I do? I mean, I'm so far behind. What did I do? So I just kept every day, just hands-on with the computer, just getting back familiar with working with a computer. And then as I'm learning how to process vector files and now that kind of stuff, I just started diving into, I have my iPad sitting here and my laptop here, and I'm looking at a YouTube video on how to do this, vector graphic and do that, and pause, okay, play, oh, back up, pause, okay, play, and just
the way we learn.
diving into it. And I have to learn tangibly by doing it. And so and repetition and like, okay, and then listening to other people and like, how did you do that? And learning hacks from them, learning little secrets on how to do them. And other people struggle with doing full wrap designs, for example, on a bottle. I'm like, and I learned from a guy that showed me exactly how to do it. And he lived in North Carolina. I'm here in Oregon, but he took the time to say, hey, do this, this, and this. Okay, and I do it if I do it that way every time, it works.
Yeah, you do beautiful work. I've seen it.
Thank you.
You do some unique stuff. I remember Halloween time, you carved a bunch of pumpkins, engraved a bunch of pumpkins.
Engraved some pumpkins.
That was really cool.
Yeah,
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to take my system mobile and go set up at a pumpkin patch or something. I think that would be a great weekend and just harvest and just get a tent, get a smaller engraver that similar to mine, but it's more mobile.
Yeah,
and just churn them out. I had a really good client this past fall, and she starting her business was doing it's called porch appeal, like curb appeal, but porch appeal, and she's decorating businesses' front porches for the harvest theme.
Yeah,
and then we're engraving their logos on the pumpkins, and so that's just part of the design. But you take a white pumpkin. The white pumpkin's engraved fantastic because it gives you a great contrast. So you got their logo on it, and then it's on a white pumpkin, and then you build this whole fall, corn cobs and other colored sized pumpkins. And I never knew there were so many different styles of pumpkins out there until I saw one of her designs. I was like, wow, this is cool. Really beautiful.
That is cool.
So she started like, hey, I need this one, this one. So my shop is full of pumpkins, and the smell of an engraving pumpkin is not like the smell of a pumpkin pie.
Couldn't be as bad as the smell of flesh when it.
Lasered a cowhide this last fall too.
Oh,
That smells not very good, but it was a full cowhide that I did for a gal for her wedding. It's like the table for all of the gifts, and they put their big names on it, and it turned out really. It was a rustic theme, but
very cool.
Yeah, it turned out really, really neat. So I really enjoy the one-off kind of fun, creative project. Don't get me wrong, I like doing big bulk orders, but those get tedious. But I find ways to like create a jig to do several at one time or whatever. But the creative one-offs are just really.
I know you did. When I was at your shop the first time I met you, you were showing me some boxes you made for college.
Right.
What were those again?
These are it's engravable leatherette. So the outside of it is actually leather, and it's black or blue or whatever. But then in the process they put layers of color under the black, for example. So this black was it. Then when you engrave the black off, then it's gold underneath. So it gives it the two-colored look and. Similar to engraving a water bottle. So you're engraving the powder coating off, and then what color is underneath is what's left. Well, same for the boxes. They were keepsake boxes. In this particular instance, I'm licensed to do a few college logos, and these were West Point logos. And you could put their class year on it and customize it with the cadet's name. And they're a really nice little box. You can keep all the letters from home. And because actually in that first year, the cadets don't get the first 6 months of training, they don't get their phones. So it's letters back to old
I don't know if
letters.
kids can survive that nowadays.
It was a really neat to step back and do that. And so I started marketing those towards the parents, and they sold really, really well. And it's neat because they could customize it. Say one of the cadets was a member of the football team, so we put his jersey number on it and all that good stuff. So just that's the beauty of engraving, I think, is that if a customer can have a vision for it, and the more I can get into their head and ask them questions, I can usually pick it and collaborate and figure out what it is they want to see. And I'll give them a couple options and show them, say, hey, this is what you told me, this is what I got from it, or choose this font, that font, or that is, that kind of stuff.
That sounds like that's the fun side, though.
Oh, it truly is.
I mean, I really, as you start talking about that, I think that's the side that gets you excited. That side of it that gets you excited. is to be able to say, it's almost like your curiosity comes out in you. And I could tell your whole body language changes. You're like, oh, and I got to do this, and oh, I got to do that.
Right, and then I'm a huge fan of like, okay, if you've seen something, as a customer, if you've seen something and you have an idea of what you want, send that to me, and then I'll take that and embellish it, or I'll, we'll play off of that theme, and we'll find stuff and just work out the graphic for it, just something fun, and. But I'm also, because I do it quite often, I'll be able to say, that not going to quite work. I know what you want, but in reality, it's not going to look good on this medium, on this wood, or whatever, because we need these contrasts. Because I'm not engraving color, I'm basically burning. So the darker the wood, you're not going to see that burn very much. So we're going to have to do it another way, or if you want to still go with that dark color of wood, we're going to have to fill it with a color, which is just more money. It's more time and more, and detailed.
What is one of your favorite projects that you've done?
Just recently, I did one for a guy. He was giving a gift to a couple that got married, and he provided all the material. So he took a big piece of black walnut, just the round, and he made a mold and circled it with resin. But it was white resin that made it look marble.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so it's big. It was as big as a barrel head, and so he wanted the wood engraved with a Celtic knot, and the date of this couple had gotten hand-fasted, married, instead of just like with a normal church wedding, but in their traditions. So we did the Celtic knot, but I had to go, because he wasn't sure if he wanted to go with black lettering or white lettering, and so I had to engrave it twice on a smaller piece of black walnut I had. So it was a long process. I said, look, all this is going to cost money. We're going to have to engrave color, but you'll know exactly what you want when you see it. And so we ultimately settled on the white, because it played off the white marble, and then he lit it up from behind with LEDs, and cool. the resin glowed, and he entwined it with a bunch of the ribbon and stuff that they used for their ceremony. So it was really just so unique, and I was like, man, this is just stunning. So I did my portion of it, and then he finally sends me a whole all the way done picture of it. So it's really kind of cool. That I really enjoyed doing the cowhide. That was an interesting median. It was like, and when I'm under pressure and it's like I don't have, especially when customers provide a material.
That's a hard one.
It's a hard one, because I'm like, I got to get it right the first time.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
I got to get it right the first time. And I'm always telling them, I say, okay, if you can give me a backup, something that I can test, then that's good. But if I'm going to provide the material, then I'm going to guarantee it.
Right.
But I don't want anything leaving my shop that's not what the customer wants.
Yeah.
Or even perfect to my standards, because sometimes I'm like, customer's like, that's great. I'm like, I see something I did wrong, or whatever. But I don't let anything go out of my shop without it being done right, because it's my name on it.
Yeah, absolutely. The customer supplied stuff is the worst.
It's so nerve-wracking.
Yep, and we run into that with apparel all the time, because everybody, Costco has these great deals on soft shell jackets and shirts, and they go and they buy it because they can get them. They save some money, but they don't realize. For us, I don't know what your policy is, but for us, we just tell them that we can't warranty that. If something happens, our machine breaks or whatever, that's why we make money on the materials.
Right.
And so it covers it. And for the most part, everybody's happy, but it's only happened in 20 years, maybe twice. And thank God there was easy fixes. So.
Yeah,
but,
it is nerve-wracking when you got one shot to do it right.
So tell us a little bit more about some of the products that you do.
It's almost easier to say what I can't engrave.
I love that.
But at this point, my laser is a CO2 laser, a 60-watt industrial size, where I can fit big items, small items into the machine, and I can get, like I said, we were doing pumpkins. I was doing 50-pound pumpkins that are not a flat surface, under my machine. Big wine barrels. I've got it set up so that I can do the top of a wine barrel as it sits on the floor. My machine will also lower all the way to the floor if I wanted to engrave a big, company logo on a wood floor in the entryway to their building. I could do that if I really wanted to.
Oh, good.
Wood, especially, obviously, glass, acrylics, crystal, stainless steel mugs. Obviously, you're engraving the powder coating off. Dove into granite, doing smaller pet memorials out of granite with a full color, not full color, but a photo of the pet engraving into the granite. That's been a really trend in the market for memorials lately, is taking photos and putting them into granite. And then for grave markers or for pet memorials, I'm more in that line because it's easier. They're smaller. I don't have the infrastructure yet for the big granite memorials yet for the glass.
Well, one thing I hope people pull out of this is that you're willing to take a look at pretty much
Oh yeah,
anything.
oh yeah.
You're like,
what I can't do is stainless steel, hard metals, jewelry. I don't have the proper laser for it yet.
Yep.
Eventually, when my business does grow, I'm going to invest in a good fiber. There's a fiber laser, and that's what you would use on knives or weapons or stainless steel or industrial tags, that kind of stuff, brass and whatnot.
People want to find you on social media, your website. What's that information?
For social media, I'm on Facebook, and it's Bald Guy Engraving. Not one word, but just the separate words. And I'm also, my website is baldguyengraving.com, all one word. I've got the domain reserved for Instagram, but I haven't done much on Instagram. My website, it's harder for me to manage. I don't have a lot of time to manage the website. I do field emails and inquiries from it, but as far as keeping it up to date on current projects, Facebook, because it's just simpler. I just shoot a quick blurb about something that I've done and shoot some pictures. Okay. And if somebody wants to order something from the website, it's just give me a call. Just call the number on there and we'll work it out. I don't have a lot of prices on my website. It's just stuff that I've done. As it evolves, I just didn't want to put a lot of money into having somebody manage that for me. So I just wanted to kind of just get my name out there and show some stuff through that avenue. And the traffic's starting to pick up on the website a little bit as Google starts seeing that I'm here and I'm getting more traffic. So it's been pleasant. So I might have to put a little bit more energy into that, I think.
So at this time, we want to get into, because we're going to have to start wrapping up here quickly. We always do these rapid fire questions, and I put some really good ones together this time. So this is always fun. What's one word that you want 2026 to be remembered by?
How rapid do you need this to be?
Well,
my wife's already told me what it is. For me, it's yes.
You want to learn to say yes?
Yes, more.
You want to learn to say yes more?
Yeah, I told you the story when you invited me. Was my wife picked adventure for her word of the year, and then she told me my word was yes. I'm like, I don't want that as my word, and then
she already probably started right there and says that doesn't sound like a yes to me.
Exactly, but my first reaction is on new stuff is like, no, it's not in my comfort zone. It's not what I normally do, or always, I start off with maybe no, and now, so when you're talking to me about this, I've got my wife here telling me, you need to say yes. You need to say yes. So
that's really great. A lot of people go the opposite way, learn to say no more often. So I like that. I really like that. Coffee or energy drinks to survive 2026?
Neither. I don't overindulge on either one. I might have half a cup of coffee in the morning, and energy drinks maybe once a week.
What's something you oddly excited about for this year?
Growing my business, because this past 6 months has been really good for me.
What's one small win that already feels big for this year?
Coming right here.
Saying yes and coming on the podcast. Yes. I love it.
Yes,
I love that.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
A little of both. I don't have a problem with getting up early. I used to not have a problem at all because I go to the gym in the morning. I don't like the evening. Once I'm done with work, I don't want to go anywhere.
What's something that you want less stress about this year?
Money.
Money.
Yeah.
That's a common.
Yeah.
That's common. What's one thing that you're going to make more time for in 2026?
Grandchildren and travel.
If 2026 was a movie, what would it be? A comedy, action, or a documentary?
Almost a documentary.
Here's a good one. So, what's a habit you're trying to get better at in 2026?
Doing more things to get out and promote myself, not necessarily myself, just my business. I don't need the promotion. I want the business to keep growing. And it doesn't all consume me. I like the balance I have because I can work as much or as little as I want, but when I'm in that work mode, I don't see the time. And then that's where I'm actually happiest, when I'm doing the work. So I've got to do the things to get the work.
But you are the brand, so
Ball guy.
you're selling. You are selling
Right,
yourself.
right,
You are the
right,
brand,
right.
and so that's a good thing. That's something that's going to stick with no matter what that business does and grows into. You'll still be that brand. So,
You didn't ask me how I came up with the name other than the obvious.
well, okay. How'd
I'm
you come up with it?
I'm terrible with people's names. I'm terrible with the first introduction and remembering it. And then I'm like, how does somebody remember me that's like me that's terrible with names? Oh, that ball guy. And I'm like, how would somebody remember my business? Oh, because they met me, that's the business. Ball. That's where I got the connection. Ball guy engraving.
Yeah.
That ball guy.
What do they
love
call
that.
you then?
I get called the sign guy all the time,
The sign guy, because I'm
The
the pizza
sign
guy.
guy. Yeah.
and I call you the pizza boy at the shop.
Oh.
They're always like, "Hey, are you going to see the pizza boy today?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll see him later."
You know, what's interesting. I mean, a lot of times when we sit here and we, interview. I've never met the person, which I had met you yet, and you get to find out things about people that like just those little. You never know how this is going to go, and I think what's interesting is, I love that you love what you're doing now. Because I look at the history you had with what you had to do, and I know the rigors of what that would be like. And so it's neat to see how much passion you have now. You're not exhausted when you get to the end of it either.
No.
You get back and it's almost like you're fulfilled rather than exhausted. And you say that the word is yes. Our director of operations, we made him a shirt that says yes and no. Because his favorite answer to me whenever I say, are we able to do this? He goes, well, yes and no, because he always likes to say,
Yes and
these
no,
are all
right?
the reasons why we can't do this.
Right. Maybe I knew that.
And because he knows I'm more on the other side. I'm like, let's find a way to do this. And
honestly, I kind of was that way in my job before. My career before was I was always, let's find a way to do something versus why not? Why are we not doing it something different or whatever, And so a lot of people in that career field were like, always negative. Always rules. And I'm like, okay, this is still within the rules. For example, I manage a housing unit, and so it's like, okay, the inmates wanted to plant some plants on the front porch. And then I got the higher-ups, why are you doing that? Why not?
Yeah.
You see, so you gotta kind of find that balance, and it's not anything that's a big deal. It's not a security thing. It's not a hard thing. So it's like you just find that balance, and it's just a mindset, I think, to try to be positive instead of always negative. And I try to be, especially with the customers, I want someone to really enjoy the process. I said, I'm going to bombard you with a bunch of questions. And let's not email because it's so inefficient. Just give me your text. I'm going to shoot you pictures. I'm going to bombard you with texts. And when I'm in that mode, we're going to figure it out.
Quick, Mike, what's your word of the year?
I got a lot of 2 words. Got a lot of 4-letter words, but no, I'd have to say, I have to say my word would. Well, I just can I just put 2 words together and just say it quickly?
Sure.
Let go,
Oh, there you go.
That's good.
Okay.
because I carry an
Or
awful
you can call
lot.
it release.
There you
There you go.
There you
Good
go.
job.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
So-
What about you?
Success.
Success, I like that.
And
Limitless. Well, thank you for coming on to our show.
Appreciate it.
It was really
Thanks
great.
for the invite.
And to play off what he said a little bit ago, I just love hearing people's stories. You're not just the bald guy engraving.
Right.
You're
There's
Scott,
more, yeah.
and you worked in the penitentiary. You served our country.
Right.
I mean, you're a fascinating person. You know that someday I'll call you and say, I'll be at the liquor store and I'll call you and say, hey, what do you think about that? We'll FaceTime. What do you think about this tequila?
I didn't want to
Fascinating.
promote another app. There used to be an app, and they've changed the name, and it's probably still on my phone, but it's called Tequila Matchmaker.
Oh.
And for a brief 6 months, I worked right next door here,
Oh.
and for Adam, and just because I just wanted to get out of the house.
Right.
Right. So for 6 months, I worked, and I became the tequila guy because nobody else knew anything about it, and so we went from a small section to kept expanding, and I actually learned it, got introduced to the diving into that was with Adam at his West Salem store, and I'm chatting him up one day and talking about different tequilas, and then I continued on my journey of learning, and then I came back and we remained friends and started work for him part time, and so then I'll use the app to show folks. Tell me what you like, and then if it's junk tequila, I'll be like, okay, this is the similar price point, but better, and this is why. And I can bring up the app, and you'll get a score because it's scored by professionals and novices like you and me, but it also will break down, and there's telltale categories that'll let you know whether it's been additive or the way it's been processed. Because the way it's been processed, if you have to use a certain pulverizing thing that you wouldn't use if it was a mature, so it's immature pinas and stuff. So
I've always liked Cobble Wobble.
that was good Sammy Hagar stuff. Yeah. That's kind of what got me initially, was good stuff. Yeah.
And it happened when I was in Cabo.
There you
I was
go.
at his cantina. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is
I'm a
good.
huge Sammy Hagar fan. So
Yep,
there you
yep,
go.
Good. Right on.
So
There you go.
I would love to know the difference between mezcal and tequila and
It's
those two different things. But
Tequila is blue agave. Mezcal's all the other kinds of agave.
okay,
And then
so it's like mutt tequila.
not necessarily. Some of those plants are humongous, like
Yeah.
8-10 feet big, but the way they're harvested, same way harvested, but then they're typically the way the agave or the mezcal agave is cooked is typically in the ground. It's smoked. So mezcals are going to have a smoky palate to it versus tequila is going to have more of the citrusy, peppery.
Yeah, and somebody was saying, so is mezcal healthier than that? Because people always bring up the whole mezcal, they drink that because there's a health element to it or whatever like that.
There's a health element to tequila.
Okay.
Yeah, if you get in the weeds, Google it someday. The
Okay.
better side, tequila is better than say corn whiskey or vodka. Or, there are a lot of sugars and rum. It's more natural. They're not adding sugar to it. It's whatever sugar content is actually from the agave itself.
We'll have to find out a lot more about that when we, because we're going to
I'll have it back on. I'll bring you a taste tester.
Yeah.
I'll bring a couple good bottles over.
Yeah, well, I want to be in on this.
I like it.
There we go. Well, we have a date. We have a future date ahead of us.
Well, thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. It's a great experience.
Great.